Welcome to the Bible Cross Reference with Rumail Roshan. Today we are looking at Psalm chapter 2. Psalm chapter 2 verse 1. Why are the nations restless and the peoples plotting in vain? Psalm chapter 21 verse 11. Though they intended evil against you and devised a plot, they will not succeed. Psalm chapter 2 verse 2. The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers conspire together against the Lord and against his anointed. Psalm chapter 48 verse 4. For behold, the kings arrived, they passed by together. John chapter 1 verse 41. He first found his own brother Simon and said to him, "We have found the Messiah," which translated means Christ. Psalm chapter 74 verses 18 and 23. Remember this, Lord, that the enemy has taunted you, and a foolish people has treated your name disrespectfully. Do not forget the voice of your adversaries, the uproar of those who rise against you, which ascends continually. Acts chapter 4, verses 25 to 26. Who by the Holy Spirit, through the mouth of our father David your servant, said, Why were the nations insolent, and the peoples plotting in vain? The kings of the earth took their stand, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ. Psalm chapter 2 verse 3. Let's tear their shackles apart and throw their ropes away from us. Jeremiah chapter 5 verse 6. I will go to the great and speak to them, for they know the way of the Lord and the judgment of their God. But together they too have broken the yoke and burst the restraints. Psalm chapter 2 verse 4. He who sits in the heavens laughs, the Lord scoffs at them. Psalm chapter 37 verse 13. The Lord laughs at him, for he sees that his day is coming. Psalm chapter 59 verse 8. But you, Lord, laugh at them, you scoff at all the nations. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 26. I will also laugh at your disaster. I will mock when your dread comes. Psalm chapter 2 verse 5. Then he will speak to them in his anger and terrify them in his fury. Psalm chapter 21 verse 9. You will make them as a fiery oven in the time of your anger. The Lord will swallow them up in his wrath, and fire will devour them. Psalm chapter 78 verses 49 to 50. He sent his burning anger upon them, fury and indignation and trouble, a band of destroying angels. He leveled a path for his anger. He did not spare their souls from death, but turned their lives over to the plague. Psalm chapter 2 verse 6. But as for me, I have installed my king upon Zion, my holy mountain. Psalm chapter 2 verse 7. I will announce the decree of the Lord. He said to me, You are my son. Today I have fathered you. Acts chapter 13, verse 33. That God has fulfilled this promise to those of us who are the descendants by raising Jesus. As it is also written in the second Psalm, "You are my son. Today I have fathered you." Hebrews chapter 1, verse 5. For to which of the angels did he ever say, "You are my son. Today I have fathered you"? And again, "I will be a father to him, and he will be a son to me." Psalm chapter 2, verse 8. Ask it of me, and I will certainly give the nations as your inheritance, and the ends of the earth as your possession. Psalm chapter 22, verse 27. All the ends of the earth will remember and return to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will worship before you. Psalm chapter 2, verse 9. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall shatter them like earthenware. Revelations chapter 12, verse 5. And she gave birth to a son, a male, who is going to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Psalm chapter 89, verse 23. But I will crush his adversaries before him, and strike those who hate him. Revelation chapter 2, verse 27. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will worship before you. Psalm chapter 2, verse 10. Now then, you kings, use insight. Let yourselves be instructed, you judges of the earth. Psalm chapter 2, verse 11. Serve the Lord with reverence and rejoice with trembling. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28. Therefore, since we receive a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let's show gratitude, by which we may offer to God an acceptable service with reverence and awe. Psalm chapter 119, verses 119 to 120. You have removed all the wicked of the earth like impurities. Therefore, I love your testimonies. My flesh trembles from the fear of you, and I am afraid of your judgments. Psalm chapter 2, verse 12. Kiss the Son, that he may not be angry, and you perish on the way. For his wrath may be kindled quickly. How blessed are all who take refuge in him. John chapter 5, verse 23. So that all will honor the Son just as they honor the Father. The one who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Revelations chapter 6, verse 16. And they said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the sight of him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Psalm chapter 34, verse 8. Taste and see that the Lord is good. How blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Romans chapter 9, verse 33. Just as it is written, behold, I am laying in Zion a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. And the one who believes in him will not be put to shame. Thank you for joining me on this edition of the Bible cross reference. God bless you.